What's up? What's up, all my beings of light, art, culture, and knowledge out there? It's your boy, Governor Wildstar, the one and only governor of me, myself, and I. Yours truly, right here on the black side of liberty. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in for what I hope will be a very insightful conversation with my guest, who I'll be introducing to you momentarily. First and foremost, you all know what to do while you are watching. Please be sure to drop any comments, questions, all that good stuff during the broadcast. I'll be happy to hopefully, answer any questions you may have during this conversation. But I'll be sure to drop those comments or questions on the screen. So please be sure to converse, be engaged, be interactive, all that good stuff, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn more from each other, and it's only going to happen if we speak up for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of speaking up for ourselves, my guest, who I'm going to be introducing to you momentarily, has been called the cop whisperer for how he speaks to police during traffic stops. So we're going to find out more from him about how we ourselves could actually be doing what he does, and learn from him, hopefully. So I'm happy to introduce to you the one and only Robert Landen, aka the cop whisperer, here with me on the black side of liberty. What's up with you, Robert?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Thank you for being here with me again on the black side of liberty, my man. So yeah, they call you the cop whisperer.
Yeah,
You
I didn't
contacted
call
me.
me that. They did.
I guess it's a name that's picking up for you. But yeah, so Robert here saw one of my many videos online of me battling it out in court, and arguing against the jurisdiction of this rogue enemy state of legislators, politicians, and fake ass police officers. We all know that they're enforcing, you know, unlawful laws. So we're going to be talking more about what those laws are, how they apply to we the people, and all of this good stuff. So Robert, you saw my videos and reached out to me. First and foremost, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up stumbling upon those videos of mine?
I don't really know where I saw it. I think it was just in the news feed. I saw you in court, and I thought this guy can do what I do. You had the courage, and you weren't afraid to speak up or challenge these people, and that's very rare. Most people just fold right over and do whatever they're told, and that's not what's going to free us. The obedience is what's actually killing us.
You're right
And
about
go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
Well, I mean, it's this obedience. As soon as you get pulled over, there's a command, and most people just obey right away, and that's the problem, right? What you're doing when you obey right away is you're condoning threats of violence. You skip right over the threat and go right into obedience, whereas I challenge the threat right away. I don't do it in a rude way. You've seen many videos, I'm sure, of people that say that they don't answer questions, right? Well, that is not going to get the cop in the right mode if you're going to act like that, right? Whereas I get them to think first. I tell them, look, I want to help you, I really do, but I can't. I can't show you the ID, right? I need to see your ID. I've done this dozens of times. And I drove around with no tag, no license, no insurance, no nothing. And what it does is it gets them to ask a question, right? Like, why? And that's what I need. I need them curious. I don't want them defensive. I don't want them writing me off as some kind of constitutionalist, sovereign citizen, or nothing like that. I want to address the violence. So that's why I start that way. You want me to just go into the whole thing, or you got questions?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to start, usually when you have this engagement with police, if you immediately go into all of this, like you said, they're going to go, I guess, calling you a sovereign citizen and treating you as such, to where they identify you as being combative or confrontational. So, from my experience, it hasn't been very well. And saying that they have peacefully respected my responses. So, how is it in particular that you're speaking to police officers to, I guess, raise concerns and deter them away from ripping you out of your damn car like they have with me?
Well, I've never sat in a car. I've always pulled over in a well-lit area if it's at night, or a well-populated area, during the day. And it usually ends up being a gas station. And I park in front of the cameras and I get out, I lock my car, I pull my camera out. I used to hide it, it's fit in the palm of my hand, but I started showing it to them. It just worked better when they knew they were being recorded. So I'm already out of the car. And if they came up and said, get back in your car, I'll say I locked my keys in there. I got a hide key. I'm not gonna get, so that's what I did before. I shouldn't even give that away, right? They'll know now. But my goal is to win them over. My goal isn't to argue with them or fight with them or discuss or go over laws, which are just politicians' dictates and open to interpretation. Because I guarantee whatever you think that law says, they're going to have a different interpretation. So it's not even worth discussing. In fact, I don't even want to talk to him while he's being a cop. I've said many times, I said, can I talk to you? Can you take a break from your job and talk to me for a minute? And they're usually pretty good about it. When I ask questions, when I tell them I can't do it, I want to help you. And then they're like, well, why not? And so if I obey you, it'd be like condoning threats of violence against a peaceful person. You wouldn't want me to do that, would you? And then that kind of sets them back, and I give them time to think about it. And then we get into a discussion. And I mean, the discussions go different ways. That's the problem, is like, you can't script this. You never know who you're going to get when these guys pull you over.
Exactly, which is why I'm trying to figure out how is it that you're under the belief that there's a way, one size fits all, so to speak, way that we could be approaching engagement with policy enforcers that would prevent us from, number one, being ticketed. If we don't want to have to pay their fines and extortion fees, or number two, avoid being hauled off to jail. As I said to you before, excuse me, usually most times when this exchange begins, from my experience, police start calling for backup. Even if you ask for a supervisor, they're being threatening, saying, you need to comply or die, do what we're saying, or we're going to be forceful and making sure that you obey the law. So excuse me, how is it that you think that, again, by implying this, not or applying this knowledge, that police officers are going to refrain from being forceful with you?
Well, like I said, you got to address the violence, right? The threat of violence against you. Look, I'm a peaceful person. I've never threatened or harmed another peaceful person in my life. Nobody can morally justify threatening me or harming me in any way. Nobody. So that's where my main question always ends up. How can you morally justify threatening a peaceful person with violence?
Mm-hmm.
And this gets them thinking, gets them talking. The ones I've run into, and not all of them, there's been a couple of, there's psychos out there, trust me. I mean, there's guys that you can't talk to. But for the most part, they will talk. They talk to me, And
well, like you said, it changes it varies case to case, officer to officer, whoever you're talking with. That guy could be a dick that day, or lady, or whatever the case may be. So it really varies case by case. So I'm saying, what's a one-way approach that I guess you're providing to people to engage with officers, other than just acknowledging the violent part? Because you can say, hey, well, morally, it doesn't make any sense for you to be physical towards me when I haven't committed any crime, because a crime is defined by a victim. So there has to be someone harmed. The officer hasn't been harmed. Nobody on the roads clearly has been harmed if they're not there to, express their grievance against you. So no victim, no crime. But if you're saying all of this, they're just going to say, hey, I'm giving you a command, a lawful command. You're not complying. So
yeah, I wouldn't say any of that. Those are all statements, and I don't use statements. Well, I mean, I do on occasion, right? But I always follow them up with a question. If I got to use a statement at the end, there'll be a question at the end.
all right, well, walk me through a potential situation. Let's play this good cop, bad cop shit, since that's what the show is called. You could be, the I guess the passenger that I'm pulling over for speeding. We'll just say that. Speeding, doing 50 in the 30 mile per hour, 35 mile per hour zone, So I'm pulling you over. Excuse me, Robert. Do you know where I pulled you over, sir?
I've never had anyone say that to me, but they've never said that to me. Yeah, they've always asked for ID first. But if they said that, that you've been 50 miles over the speed limit or whatever, I would probably say, how would that morally justify threatening a peaceful person with violence? Now, that statement right there.
Now, I haven't done anything yet. I haven't threatened you with violence. I just said, do you know why I pulled you over?
Well, I mean, you want to know why I pulled over?
No, I'm the cop. I pulled you over. Woo woo. I got the lights. You pulled over.
I mean, I'd be honest. I'd say, well, you want money, right? You're out here generating revenue. So what else do you want to hear? I'm just going to tell the truth. So what I want to address is you threatening me with violence to force me off the road. How can you morally justify that? And if we were in court and I put you on the witness stand, what would you tell the jury?
Okay, before we get into that, let's just back up a little bit. Okay, so I asked you, do you know why I pulled you over? And you come back with this response. Let's just play back cop. So, sir, the reason why I pulled you over was because you're speeding. And you're going 50 in the 35 mile per hour zone. Were you aware of that?
Well, I mean, what do you want to do about it?
See, all of this is entrapment. This is what the public don't know, is they're actually being interrogated right there by the police officer. So that Fifth Amendment part, when they say what you can and say will be against you.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to do? Help them with their investigation and answer their questions? I'm not.
If you got a person that's getting pulled over for speeding, and they say, well, yeah, I understand I was probably going a little fast there.
Well, they got you then.
They've entered into that verbal contract with the state, because the police officer is an enforcer of state law or whatever, any type of laws. So they're the state enforcer, the law enforcer, versus you, the free person. You have now just subjugated yourself to their authority by simply answering their questions. And the average person don't understand that. So if you're saying that you can just simply go into talking about violence towards, the violence that they use or would potentially use towards you, that's, again, one situation out of many. I'm just talking about this one where they can get you by saying, hey, do you know why I pulled you over? If you say yes or no, that's
how they establish control. Right, Nicholas? This is how they establish control.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Indeed. And if you let them establish control, it's going to be really hard to dig your way out later. I never let them get that control. They can sit there. What's that?
How do you prevent that? All right. So now I'm going to play bad cop. All right. That was a good cop scenario. And I hate to say it, but you didn't really do that well. I mean, if I was still a good cop, I would have wrote you a ticket just saying, hey, you're going 50.
Oh, we never finished it. You know, I mean, we left it off on the second statement. And go ahead and try to give me a ticket. Let's just play role play and we won't break character. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm still good cop this time around. I'm pulling you over. You're going 50 and the 30, and I'm telling you, this is why I pulled you over. So now, sir, because you're going 50 and the 30 and you're not answering my questions, I'm just going to write you this ticket. Your license and registration, please.
No, I wish I could help you, but I just can't do that.
Is it that you do not have a license and registration, sir?
No, I just, I can't obey you because then it would be like condoning threats of violence against a peaceful person. You wouldn't want me to do that, would you?
But if you're not breaking any laws, then why would you not want to provide me with your license and registration? If you're a lawful driver, then you should have a license and you should have registration for your vehicle. So,
and what if I don't?
And if this is California, a state like California, you also got to provide your proof of insurance as well. So if you don't give me these 3 pieces of information, I'm going to have to arrest you.
Oh,
you don't want me to have to do that, do you?
Okay, so you're threatening a peaceful person with violence. How can you morally justify that?
Again, sir, I'm giving you a lawful order. This is traffic law. I'm just telling you as a law enforcer that you have to abide by the rules of the road. The rule is that you must abide by the speed limit, and it's posted back there as 30 miles per hour. You're going 50, therefore, since you're speeding, I'm going to write you a ticket for speeding. If you combat that ticket for speeding, then I'll have to arrest you from preventing me from, doing my job.
Okay, Ossifer, why don't you tell me when and exactly how you consented to any of those laws?
When I did?
Yeah, when did you consent to any of these laws? Were you fully informed, and when did you consent?
I took this job as a law enforcer, and I swore to.
How did you consent? How did you consent? Did they fully inform you of all the laws? Go ahead and tell me how many laws there are.
I was sworn in as an officer to enforce the law. The traffic law is law, and with me being a law enforcer, you see what I'm saying? This is where things kind of get sketchy, because we're going to be going back and forth forever if I'm good cop. Good cop has to turn into bad cop in order for you to do what they say, right? So now, once the good cop starts to turn into bad cop, he's going to say, look, either you give me your license and registration and proof of insurance right now, or I'm going to pull you out of your car and I'm going to arrest you because you're not obeying an officer's command. I'm the officer. You're not doing what I'm telling you to.
Yeah, I'm not in the car, though. It'd be tough trying to pull me out of a car I'm not sitting in.
Okay, let's say you're not in the car then, Robert. I mean, damn. Let's say you're standing outside of the car, you've locked your car, and you're standing there. And now we're face to face, and I'm saying, if you don't give me your license and registration, then I want you to turn around and I'm going to arrest you. If you refuse,
okay, so how can you morally justify threatening a peaceful person with violence? Just go ahead and morally justify it, and I'll get down there and lick your boots right now. Go ahead.
Again, sir, I'm just doing my job, and my job says to enforce the law. The law is the rules of the road says you must abide by the speed.
That's interesting. So you're saying you have to do things that you can't morally justify. What would possess you to take a job like that?
Money. Just like anybody else, man. I got to pay these bills and make sure that my family is provided for. And then I'm
okay, so you see my camera, I'm recording. So when this goes to court, and I put you on the witness stand, what are you going to tell the jury?
Shane Driscoll says you're going to jail. So based off of what
I've done this dozens of times, never went to jail. Dozens of times.
So you do.
The cops never took me to jail. They shook my hand, thanked me, and let me drive away with no license or tag. I never even showed them my license. I don't have to, because I'm a peaceful guy, and they can't morally justify what they're doing. The way you're
Robert,
doing it has never happened to me. Never. And I've
okay,
done this
so
dozens of times. They usually
Robert,
ask questions. They're curious. They want to know why I'm saying this. Why can't you give me your license? I'm curious. Well, if I give it to you, it'd be like condoning threats of violence against a peaceful person. You wouldn't want me to do that, would you? And they
they
usually
do it
sit there
all
and
day,
go,
every day.
what?
Robert, there's black people getting pulled over because they had a damn, air freshener hanging from the dashboard. I've
Oh
gotten
yeah.
pulled over for having a tail light out when really it's not a damn tail light because I got my damn back window light, and that constitutes as still two working back lights. So I hate to tell you, but all day, every day, you have cops that justifiably use the means of violence and their authority, whatever the case may be, the authority that the people and the state has given them to enforce the law on peaceful, law abiding citizens. Period. It happens all day, every day. But you did say something. You said you got plenty of videos or I guess recordings of this, but I haven't been able to find any. I mean, I've even here on the website, you don't have any listed. And then
I haven't
on
done
your
anything with that website yet. I got to do something with it.
and then
Look,
on your YouTube page here, you pretty much just have a whole bunch of interviews that you have. So is there a place where I can find one of the videos where you're talking about?
I'll go make a new one for you. You want to see it happen? You want to see
We
a cop
need
shake my hand and thank me? Is that what
yes,
you need?
we need proof. I mean,
Well,
because
see, the reason I contacted you because I thought you were the guy that could be able to go out there and do that. But obviously, you're not a believer until you see it happen for yourself. But
what
if
are
you
you
went out
talking
and talked
about?
to a cop,
I've done it before. I've tried
you
before. And
haven't
that's
done
the
this.
thing is,
You've never
I
asked them how
actually,
you morally justify threatening a peaceful person with violence. You've never done that. I guarantee it. People say that. I've heard that before. People have
maybe,
said, "Oh, I've tried that. I asked them this." No, you didn't.
maybe not in those exact words, but
No,
what
you
I'm
need those
trying
exact
to do,
words, and you
but
need to
that's
stick
what
to
I'm
your
saying to
gun,
you.
and
I've
and you
admitted
need to look them
things.
in the eye, and you got to have confidence, and you got to be able to win them over. And I've even said to cops that were being hard asses, I'll say, "Look, man, I'm trying to help you, man. I really am. Once you see this, you're gonna love it. Why don't you give me a chance? Take a break from your job, and let's just talk for a minute." And they go, "Okay, let's do it." They've been very talkative to me. Now, yeah, I'm a white guy in an Escalade, so they
Yeah,
probably
and that has a lot to do with it, man,
it
versus
does
a
probably,
black
but
guy.
white guys in Escalades have been beating the shit out. Have been, it's not a guarantee, okay? But I'm saying
Robert,
if you address the violence, then you don't have to deal with the rest of it. Plus, you're winning them over. Yeah, I've even
Robert,
said to cops almost every
I've
time,
confidently spoken to police
huh?
officers about them justifying using violence, or not even that, just using their authority to stop me from exercising my God-given right to travel. I mean, that's one thing that we should be
Yeah,
able to agree on across the board as human beings is that no other human being has the right to stop me from going from one place to another, right? What you're talking about morally, justifying why you would violently, stop someone or harm someone.
yeah. Why would you force a
Fundamentally,
peaceful person off the road? How can you morally justify that?
okay,
Just
so
wondering.
fundamentally, we should have the natural, God-given right, natural right to move from point A to point B without being harassed.
Right.
I've argued this.
Right. You've made
Fundamental right
statements. You've made claims. I understand that. You've made
with
statements and
police
claims, and that's
officers,
not how you do it. You
and
got to ask
they've,
questions and you got
they've
to wait
written
for
me
the
the
answer
ticket.
patiently.
They've written me the ticket and or hauled me off to jail.
Right. Because you made
And
statements. Don't make
whether
statements.
whether it's a statement or a question, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is you're saying put the
Doesn't
officer in
matter.
a
Did
position.
you want to learn how to do this or you
This
just
is
want to shoot
why.
me
This is
down?
why. You're saying put the officer in a position to where they can question their position of authority enough to morally justify using violence to enforce law, quote unquote, right? You're
Yeah,
a white
more.
guy. You're saying it works. I'm a black guy with actual proof, unlike you, who is saying that it doesn't because of the simply because of the color of my skin, because I've seen other videos where white guys like you have done it and they've gotten away. You know what I'm saying? They've been able to drive away.
Look,
Like
I'm trying to help the cops. See, I'm trying to help the cops.
You person do that. It doesn't
happen. Well, okay, you got me then. Yeah, it's all bullshit. That's cool.
Look it, even on your channel, man, on this playlist that you have, one of the videos is "Cops Don't Understand the Law Makes Them Terrible Enforcers." This video that you popped up from Lackluster. I actually watched that video, and the guy in it was brown. Okay, he wasn't as melanated to me. I think he was probably Hispanic or something like that, but he was doing something similar to what you said. Never was violent, never raised his voice, was confident in everything that he said to the guy. And at the end of the day, this lady cop that they're showing here, she was the one that enforced the arrest. But it ended with him getting drug off the bus by, you know, some, I guess, supervisor. Damn YouTube and their commercials. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people out there that have tried this before, you know.
No,
so
they haven't tried this before. That's not a true statement. So I'd rather you not make untrue statements, please. So it's never been tried before. No one's tried this before. I've done it, and I've done it dozens of times, and I'll do it again. I'm trying to teach other people how to do it. I'm trying to teach you how to get the cops to leave you alone. If you don't want to learn, that's fine with me, my friend.
Yeah, I want to learn. Everybody wants to learn because nobody wants to
then learn. Then take what I'm saying and put it into action.
Nobody wants to have to deal with another man for any reason at all, justifying using violence towards them. Period. So man to man, period. I want to be able to say, no, you don't have the authority to speak to me or treat me that way because I pay your damn salary with my tax dollars.
Yeah, that's a statement.
What?
That's a statement.
Okay, so Shane here is saying, what's the script? Let's not role play. What do you actually say? So what do you actually say to police officers to get them to back off? Because you have curious minds now that want to know.
Well, I ask them to morally justify what they're doing, and it usually opens up some conversations. You know, they try to justify the law. Oh, well, we all got to obey the law. You know, it turns into a discussion. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I even discussed this with a cop who was a communist. Okay. And he damn near got me because he got me way off the rails talking about all kinds of crap. And that one didn't work. That one I ended up getting driving on a suspended ticket, though they could have got me for no tag and dark tinted windows and everything else. But I ended up talking to the guy that wasn't writing the ticket, you know, so I talked to the wrong guy. I learned. It was one of my first tries, you know, but after I got good at it, because they kept pulling me over because I had no tags. I had no license. I had dark tinted windows. You couldn't see in my truck. So I got better as I went along. And what I did was I just asked them, say, well, you know, if I obey you, that'd be like, you know, condoning threats of violence against peaceful people. You wouldn't want me to do that. Usually they pause at that question, right? You wouldn't want me to do that, would you? Because I'm looking them right in the eyes. I'm trying to get through to them. You know, I'm coming across as a guy who's trying to help them. I'll tell you, this is a little bit, you know, there's a lot of sales involved. There's a lot of psychology involved and a little bit of hostage negotiating. So if you want to get good at this, study those three subjects. All right. You got to understand the cops' state of mind. Okay. They've been indoctrinated. They've been trained to do this. They do things they can't morally justify. And no one ever calls them on it. No one. I've never heard anybody out of the thousands, maybe tens of thousands of videos I've watched of people getting pulled over. Only one person ever came close, and he was in the back of the car in handcuffs. And he asked him how he could morally justify it. And that was music to my ears, but it was a little too late.
And at that point, I mean, it really doesn't matter because, like you said, guys in the back of the cop car, you're going to jail.
It's too late then, but at least I heard somebody.
And the prosecutor don't give a damn. A judge doesn't give a damn. So no matter what you say, even if the person is having this conversation with them, asking questions to morally justify them using violence to enforce the law, they're going to do it. The person ends up suffering because of it. And now they feel like shit because they took advice about standing up for themselves. They did that and it didn't work. They got stumped on. That's how it felt for me. As much as people want to say, yeah, all you got to do is say all of this shit, I said it all and I got stomped on and I feel like shit. And
So you're jaded by listening to someone else and you're treating me like I'm them.
No, not at all. Again, if you have something unique to tell me that's different, that's going to turn the tides, different than them, because so far I haven't heard much and you don't have video proof to even back up your claim.
Then why are we even doing this?
It's hard for me because you wanted to have this conversation, man. And like I said,
I wanted to train you to do this and you decided to do this show, but this is different than what I requested of you.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to go around doing this before. Like you've seen in my videos, I've done it before, and it's cost me time away from my family.
You have me on your show so you can tear me up in front of your people there.
Not at all. Again, you're the one with the website talking about peaceful police and with the YouTube channel with all sorts of interviews talking about you've done this before successfully, it works. So since you reached out to me, telling me you can educate me on how to do what I've done before better to be successful at it. And I'm telling you, man, I'm not going to do that shit so I can end up in jail and miss another one of my son's Christmases, which has happened. I'm not going to do that shit so I can end up having to pay hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars out of my pocket simply because I can say, well, I did what Robert said and, stood up for my rights. Fuck that, man. I'm sick of that shit. And every person out there watching this shit, they're not going to put themselves in jeopardy and sacrifice all of those things that I said simply just to do what you're talking about. Because if they have, they would have done it by now. The videos that I have millions of views. Millions. Why is it that none of those people have done what I've done?
I don't know what videos you're talking about.
The same videos that you ended up seeing and contacted me about. That's what I'm saying. I have videos, Robert, of me getting pulled over by Laguna Beach PD, by
I only saw the one.
PD, by San Jose PD, by LAPD, by so many damn different police departments, highway patrol, whatever the case may be. And every time that I've defended my rights, just as you're talking about, just to justifiably say, why are you impeding me from exercising my God-given right to travel? Even if I'm not saying what you're saying, I'm asking them a question that should morally make them think, yeah, why the fuck am I stopping this man from moving from one place to another? You would think that would make them think, right? It's not. It's not enough to where it's making them be like, you know what? Fuck this badge. Fuck this job. I'm going to defect. I'm going to fight against this damn tyranny because it's all policing for profit. I'm only doing this shit for money anyway. Dude, you can't tell me that I can turn around, learn from you, and teach other black people how to do this shit. Because if I end up getting some niggas killed because of this shit, I'm going to blame you. I'm
offering to train people on how to do this. They'll come up with their own way of doing it. It's not easy. Look, I trained salespeople for 30 years, okay? You can't tell them everything. They got to go out there in the field. They got to practice. I recommend everybody I train to go out there and go up to a cop that's at a picnic or some shit or eating lunch at a restaurant and bounce these questions off until you get good at it. This is no script. You can't just have magic words, my friend. I just told you a few things I've done that have been effective, which you've shot down without any evidence that they don't work. But I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be standing here wasting my time if it didn't work. Why else would I do this? I'm doing it to help you. I'm doing it to help everybody. I want people to go out there and stand their ground. If you're a peaceful person, stop taking this shit. Stop obeying them and question them. You can always obey them. You can always give them the license. You can always lick their boots. But why not ask a couple questions first? You're too scared. You're too much of a coward to say, hey, how can you morally justify this?
Yeah.
You can still give them your damn license.
Yeah, it's people that are too much of a coward to even ask that type of question.
That's it. That's the problem. I'm talking to too many cowards, man. No one's got the guts to ask a couple questions. So here we are. with a bunch of slaves. What you're doing when you obey them is you're supporting them. You're encouraging them. You are the enemy. Every time you obey without question, you are the one that's keeping us enslaved. That's just the damn truth. Because you're feeding them, you're feeding their delusions of authority. You're giving them power over you and other people. You're encouraging them to rob and pull people over and lock them up. Dude, the prisons are full of peaceful people. For what? For disobedience? Disobeying what? Politicians' dictates, laws, so-called laws that nobody consented to have applied to them?
Yes.
A bunch of damn slaves. And if you don't want to stand up, if you're too scared, then go hide. Go hide, man.
That's where we are right now, Robert. That's why.
Well, I'm not hiding. I'm tired of this crap. I'm trying to get out here and get people to stand their ground a little bit, you know, ask some questions. It's not going to kill
right there with you alongside you, brother. That's why I've been fighting to overturn this shit as a fucking politician myself.
Oh, you're going to join their gang? You're going to join the violent gang and change it from within. Oh, that's brilliant.
Exactly. Yes.
How about ignoring the shit out of them? How about ignoring them? How about getting the cops to ignore them? How about getting the cops to protect peaceful people from the politicians? You know, the cops got to obey too. You know, the cops got to get a license. The cops got to get a tag. The cops got to obey too. They're slaves. They're just have privileges. They get to beat up on the rest of the slaves.
Let me ask you this, Robert. Steve Z says, so a cop pulls him over. He can barely ask what he did. And you're saying not to give them his info. They will pull me out at gunpoint.
No, I said, I want to help you. I really do. I want to help you, but I can't. That gets them to ask me a question. Why can't you? And then I tell them, I'll say, look, if I obey you, it'd be like condoning threats of violence against a peaceful person. You wouldn't want me to do that. That opens up a discussion, and it can go many different ways. I mean, if you think you're going to get beat up the second you talk to a cop, then you are too scared to do this. And I don't want to teach anyone who's that scared. I thought you had guts. I saw you in the courtroom talking shit. I thought this guy's got the courage.
Wait. So Steve is saying if a cop pulls him over and if he can barely ask what he did because the cop is too busy just rattling off like you kind of are right now, and he says to him, give me your info, and he doesn't, he's going to get pulled out the car at gunpoint. Steve Z knows that.
I didn't say doesn't. I said ask him a question. You can't ask him a question.
But he's not giving an opportunity to, because you have a cop that is too much wrapped up into their authority and them saying, do as I say, do as I say, do as I say. And if you're not answering,
they're not all like that. They are not all like that, okay? You're stereotyping every single pullover, and they don't come up there barking orders. They've never done it to me, ever, not once. They never come up and barked an order at me. All they did was say, can I see your driver's license? That's it. Over 30, 40 times, they've only asked for my driver's license. That's it. No one's, the things you're coming up with and they're coming up with have never happened to me because I don't give them a reason to go there.
El Nino is saying Cop Watch is good. I don't know if you've ever seen Cop Watch videos, but I've seen enough to know that what you're saying right now it's not applicable, my man. I've seen videos where people have said exactly that, raised these questions, and it has led to them in their ass.
Show me the link that someone said exactly that. I want to see the video. Because I've seen just about every video out there, but go ahead. I may have missed it. Let me see somebody who's asked them to morally justify what they're doing and actually tried to win them over. Or were they trying to argue? Were they trying to beat them? Were they trying to say, hey, I know more than you? That doesn't work. You know, there's different ways of doing this. And if you do it that way, you're going to lose.
I know what you're talking about.
I want to see a video where somebody used my moral approach word for word.
We need to know what he's talking about. But
I don't really care, dude. There's people out there that want to learn this and want to stop the cops. Okay, I mean, if you guys don't want to do it, I really don't know. Skin off my nose.
Is saying racism has a lot to do with it, and I gotta agree with them. If you're saying,
I don't think it has that much. Not a whole lot, man.
Saying that you've done this before successfully. How long? How long have you been doing this?
10 years.
So in the 10 years that you've been doing this, you don't have any videos to show that you've done.
I got hundreds of videos. Yeah, I got plenty. I had a camera on me every time. but I
Okay.
only use the camera
Shane,
to
if you want to
document.
jump in this, I just
Look,
sent
look,
you a
look.
link on
I
Facebook.
only recorded them to document, to make sure I had a record of what happened. I didn't record to be a YouTube star. I hate being on video. In fact, I can't stand this. In fact, every
Who
video you
does?
see on there, I didn't want to do.
Yeah, but you're doing it as a freedom fighter. You're out there, you're
I'm doing it to try to get other people to do it because I'm the only one doing it.
right. The best way to teach others and encourage them to do the same thing is to document it and show it to them. Now, even though I've done it before and it failed and people laughed at me and ridiculed me
You
because
haven't
of it,
done this before.
I still got the video out there, and a lot of people appreciate it because they see that I have enough balls to stand up for my rights and
Yeah,
fight
you do. I
for
agree.
my
You have the
freedom
balls,
as
you
well
have
as
the
theirs.
courage. You just don't have the words, and you don't know the look. There's like 30 points that I've written down. You've got to know every one of those points, and when you learn every one of those points, then you're going to go, oh shit, this is easy. Yeah, it's easy because now you know how to do it. You've never done it. No one's ever done it, and people claiming they've done it are simply lying or they're mistaken because it's
Okay,
never.
so Shane is white, and he's saying he wants to learn. So give us something to learn from right now, if you could.
Listen, cops have discretion. They don't have to write a ticket. They don't have to do anything. Okay.
That is
It's up
true.
to them. It's a personal choice. It comes down to that person's decision as to whether they're going to do something. People are let off the hook all the time. I mean, when I was a kid, the cops would let me go and not give me any ticket and not arrest me for having beer underage and shit like that. They didn't care. It's their choice. Nothing is going to harm them. They're not going to be punished if there's no victim. There's nobody to complain. Who's going to complain if he walks away? I've had this discussion with cops many times. I said, you had discretion, right? I mean, they taught you that in training? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, then you can walk away anytime you want. It's basically a personal decision, right? I mean, you're a good guy. You protect peaceful people from violence, right? What are you going to do to protect me today? They go, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. And they walk away. And there's
All right.
other different examples of them walking away. I want to find somebody who's willing to do it with a camera or somebody to record them. And I would love to see a video on there. All my camera footage is me holding the camera in my hand by my waist at night. You can barely see anything, right? And it's
So
shaky when
Shane
you
is
do see
saying,
something. I want a clear video of somebody out there selling a cop and getting them to walk away. But you don't have to be pulled over. Like I said, you can go find them when they're at a restaurant. That'd be a perfect place. You see a restaurant with a bunch of cop cars, go in there. If you got money, offer to pay for their lunch if they answer a few questions. And just
all
get
right,
them to admit that they have discretion, they can walk away anytime they want, and that they really should be on the side of the peaceful people because they too are enslaved and they can protect us. They don't have to arrest anybody. They don't have to give anybody a ticket. Now, I know there's quotas and shit out there, but we'll talk about that later. But right now, what we need is people to at least ask some questions without risking being, look, you can hold the license in your hand and say, oh, look, and yeah, I want to give it to you, but I just can't morally justify giving it to you and they'll be like, what do you mean? Well, if I do it, then I'd be like condoning threats of violence against a peaceful person. You wouldn't want me to do that, would you? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? I said, well, what are you going to do if I don't show it? You're going to chain me up and lock me in a cage. You're going to put another peaceful person in a cage for disobeying a politician's dictate. Do you feel good about doing something like that? And they're usually like, well, I never thought of it that way. Yes, this does work, and it works very well. I just want to train other people on how to do it. I'm retiring out of this stuff. I've had enough, but I need someone else to carry the torch and get this thing going. And I thought you were the man.
so let me ask you a question because Shane said it's not just words, it's attitude, okay?
Yep.
So
Attitude is everything.
when it boils down to it, I've spoken with them, had, I guess, an orderly attitude because you want to have a particular attitude showing that you're obedient and all of this other stuff. I have videos and I've seen other videos where the person's attitude didn't really reflect them, you know, justifying having to use violence towards that person at some point. Shane, I can send you videos too, but Yeah, Robert, I can send them to you also, but
You send them. I mean, I'm telling you, these guys can sniff weakness. You can't be weak. You got to make eye contact. You got to look in the blacks of their eyes. You got to be sincere, and you got to be really trying to reach that goal. My goal every time is to get them to thank me and shake my hand like dozens of them have done before. I even tell them that. I have a business card that says Peaceful Police. I hand them the business card. I say, look, I'm trying to help you guys. I'm trying to help you live a more peaceful life. I start
all right.
selling them on peaceful police training.
So what
They
you're
did,
talking about as far as discretion, El Nino says they can also kill if they want, or allow people to kill themselves. I don't know if you heard recently, but there was a guy that committed suicide, and police officers were right there. They stood by as this guy jumped off a bridge and drowned.
oh
And they
yeah,
even said, I'm not going to jump in there and save you. Now, these officers have not been reprimanded. They have
oh
not
yeah,
been fired. They
right.
most likely will not ever be charged criminally because of what you said. Cops having discretion. Warren versus District Columbia. Warren versus District of Columbia. Warren versus District of Columbia. I'm saying it multiple times so the people out there can hopefully look it up. It's an actual case where it has been defined that police have no duty to protect you.
They don't. They
They
do whatever
don't.
they want. They're
So
a
if what you're
violent gang. They're the most. I've had a cop tell me we're the most violent gang in town. Or no, we're the toughest gang in town. And I said, "You mean the most violent?" He goes, "What?" And I said, "Well, you lock up more peaceful people than all the other violent people. You kill more peaceful people than anyone else. There's more people and more the most." Let me try to say, in prison, the majority of the people in prison never hurt anybody. There's no victim. They're all in there for disobeying some damn dictate that no one consented to obey in the first place. Cops have discretion. They can do nothing if someone's dying, then it's easy for them to do nothing when no harm's been done.
if that was understood, man, the prisons would be empty right now. The court
They
jails
should be.
would be empty right now. They
They
should
should
be.
be. Yeah.
You're fucking absolutely correct. They definitely should be. They're not. And you know why they're not? Because they hire a bunch of guys that get ballsy and feel like they need to go out there and act macho and for whatever reason, impose their broken, mentality and on other people and make them feel
Well, look,
smaller than them.
look, they've been
And
given.
really, they have a job to protect those
Wait,
people.
wait, wait a minute. The
People are under,
laws and
hold
their
on,
job
wait.
procedures.
Let me finish my thought. People are under the impression that police are there to protect them. Again, Warren versus District Columbia says that they do not. So when people call police and they're thinking they're there to help them, you know, and they go to respond in a violent way, that's not going to make the situation any better. I didn't scare you off, did I?
No, I'm here.
All
I'm
right, there
listening.
you go. All right.
Look, we're going round and round here. I'm not saying this will work on every cop. It's not a magic pill, okay? When I train salespeople, it takes like a week sitting in class and then a week on product. But I mean, just sales techniques. And that's just giving them a basic 6
Right.
hours a day for a week for them to get the basics. And that's even people who've been in sales before. It took me that long to give them the basics so they can go out there and create their own persona and sales pitch and stuff like that. Okay. No way can you listen to me right now and go out there and do this. It's not going to happen. You've got to know every in and out. You've got to know every direction the conversation is going to go. When I talk to a cop, I got 20, 30 responses ready to go. You don't even, one.
We just
Okay.
had
You
a
don't know the other
conversation and you said a cop never asked me before.
What?
I said, when we did our situation, our scenario, you said a cop never even asked you that before. And I just asked you a simple, basic question, which most cops
I get
ask.
new stuff. There's always new stuff coming up, dude. It's never the same, but I'm giving you the stuff that I've used the most often that has been effective, just to give you a teaser. They'll give you a taste of what this can do. I'm not saying that you can go out there and just ask these 5 questions and all of a sudden the cop's going to fold over and thank you. That ain't going to happen. You've got to learn 30 points. You've got to practice. You've got to role play. You got to keep going. You got to go talk to cops. You got to talk to judges. You got to get, not judges, but, whoever you can get your hands on, practice on people. This is not easy. That's why it's not really going anywhere, because no one's got the dedication to go through my 40 hours of training and go out there and start selling these guys.
Yeah, see, 40 hours of training just to end up in jail, man, doesn't seem like it's worth it if it's not helping anybody. You keep
saying that you're going to go to jail, which is disrespectful to my technique here, to my moral approach, man. I mean, I've done this for 10 years. Don't tell me that it's not effective, because I lived it. I watched it. I've done it. And in other words, you're calling me a liar, and I'm not really happy about that.
Again, I'm being realistic here, Robert. And
no, being realistic, telling me that my technique doesn't work is calling me a liar.
You're not being realistic if you're not saying to these people, honestly, if you try this, there's a possibility you may end up in jail. Period.
I said you can always obey. Ask a question, and if he's a real evil bastard, then just give him the license. Asking a question isn't going to get the shit kicked out of you.
It has nothing to do with obedience. Like you said, make it personal. If they're making it personal and it still ends up or leads to them getting a ticket and or ending up in jail, then now they just did this 40 hours of dedication and to learning and experience and all of that other stuff for nothing.
I thought about it, and maybe I am the only one that's capable of doing this. There's just nobody out there that's good enough to do this, that's courageous enough to learn this and do this, You're probably right. I'm probably the only one, which is a shame, because when I die, it dies with me.
Well, again, if you could put it in a book form, we're coming over to the website, and if the website, had more information to where people could at least learn about your technique or at least see it in action, then that would hopefully inspire.
Well, if I got a hold of you, I thought you could go out there and do it so people could see it in action. You're a guy that likes to be on camera. I don't like being on camera.
The videos that I've done before, I don't like being on camera either. I don't go out there purposely doing that shit. It happens on accident. And trust me, I would rather not be getting pulled over and having my right to travel violated by these damn rogue officers. Period.
And how is telling them that worked out for you?
I don't tell them that shit. Like I said to you, man, each time is different. One time I was completely fine about it, joking, laughing, all of this other good stuff. And then when it came to license and registration, he said, I hate to tell you, Mr. Wildstar, but you got a warrant out for your arrest. So I got to arrest you right now. And he took me out of my car, away from my wife and away from my son, to take me to jail. So how is what you're talking about right now going to stop that from happening? It's not.
It's not a magic pill. I told you it's not. These aren't incantations, my friend, man. People are people. You don't know what's going to happen. I have no guarantee that this is going to work for anybody. All right. All I know is that somebody that has the balls to talk to these people has the basics that they need to learn how to do my moral approach and start winning cops over. And you don't have to get pulled over to try it. You can go up to a cop that's not pulling you over and try it.
The basics is being brave enough to speak up. I've done that. So if anything, it's insulting to tell me that I'm not doing it good enough or whatever the case may be.
No, you're just not doing my moral approach. That's all. You're doing something else, but it ain't my moral approach.
It doesn't matter. Even if I got enough balls to speak up and say something about it, I've done it and I have it on video, versus other people aren't going to do that shit in their entire fucking lifetime. I've done it before, time and time again. Like I said, I'm not going to do it anymore because I can't afford to. But it's not insulting to you and your technique to be realistic and say, if you do this shit, you may end up in jail just like my black ass.
No, that's always a possibility, and they don't even need a reason to pull you over, by the way. You said your tag and your tag light. They pull people over for no reason at all a lot of times.
Yeah. I'm black. I mean, trust me, Robert. I know. I've been pulled over just for fucking being black.
The racist thing is not as deep as you think it
has nothing fucking to do with racism. It has everything to do with the training of these officers. And if they're trained to look at a specific individual as if they are a criminal, i.e. this one right here, Okay, I've been walking down the street, Robert, and got fucking arrested for fitting the description. I've got arrested riding my fucking bike. I've gotten arrested for any damn thing that you can think of. So you can't turn around and tell me that racism does not play a factor
I
in
didn't
it
say
when
it
you're a
doesn't.
white
I said
man.
it's not. I
When
said
you're
it's
a
not.
white man sitting here telling me you
It's,
can do it. Show
it's
me
not
the
as
fucking proof,
prevalent. Why do you
and then
twist
we
my
can
words?
talk.
I didn't say that. I said it's not as
Show me
prevalent
the
as
proof,
you think it is.
and then we can talk.
Okay, well, just about every state trooper in Florida is black. What are you going to do about that? They arrest black people all the time. So what's the problem there?
Because you know what? Them motherfuckers don't give a fuck about if you black or white, because they're going to do the job just like what I'm saying, and they're going to arrest your ass. Period. Or give you the fucking ticket. Because that's how they think. They're even more brainwashed than the white fucking cop that you're talking about. They may have this, I guess, epiphany to where they feel like, you know what, this is America, the land of the free, and you should be able to exercise your freedom here, white man or black man, and I'm not going to write you this ticket. I'm not going to arrest you. Man, Robert, I hate to tell you, you're full of shit. If you can be honest right now and say, if you do this, it may lead you to being in jail and or dead, because that's another fucking possibility that you're not even factoring in as a reality, is it could lead to you getting shot and killed by a fucking cop who
Dude,
don't
doing
wanna have
nothing
to
can
deal
lead
with
to that.
shit.
You can do nothing and they'll still shoot and kill you. That has nothing to do with it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Why exacerbate the situation with what you're talking
Oh,
about?
so just bend over and
That's
let
how
them
people
have
are
you,
going to
huh? Is that your
do.
solution?
You
Just
can look
bend
at any
over
of
and
the
do what you
fucking
want with
comments
me,
of
my
my
friend?
videos. Look at any of the comments of my fucking videos of me doing exactly what you're talking about. And
No,
somebody,
you've never
the
done exactly
majority
what
of
I'm
them are
talking
going to
about.
say, pay your fucking registration, pay your tags, do as they say, and you won't have to deal with any of this shit. Period.
I was
Because
mistaken,
that's
my
how
friend.
the
You're
stupid
just
brainwashed ass American thinks.
you're too broken, man. You're too scared. You can't do it at
No,
all. You
no,
can't even
no,
try.
no. You know why? You know why I'm broken? And I'm not fucking scared. I've had enough of being fucking scared. I've been brave, braver than fucking most. And I've been out there and I've sacrificed. I've sat in jail for fucking months. I've lost thousands of dollars. I've spent time away from from my wife, from my fucking child, and from my family. So don't you sit there and say all
Yeah,
of this bullshit that you're talking about.
you're scared to try this.
You're fucking full of shit, Robert. And I'm telling you, if you're not going to be honest enough to tell people honestly what I'm saying, you don't even fucking deserve their time.
I told you that there's always risk. They'll shoot you for no reason at all. Anytime you run into a cop, there's a chance that he's a psychopath that just puts a gun to your head. You don't know.
Oh my God.
I'm saying this
Are
is the
you
best
fucking
way.
kidding me?
This is the best
Shane,
way
you're
to
here. I'm going to
convince
let you
them.
talk because you're here for some reason. I want to find out what the fuck you got to say, because this guy is going to drive me fucking nuts.
How you doing, guys?
You definitely don't have the temperament for it. How you doing? Who is this?
No, I do not.
Hey, Robert.
Especially when if
Shane?
I got a big cop like you that would talk to me about, hey, where's your license or registration? If I don't give them that shit, they're going to drag my black ass out the fucking car and or beat me and or kill me right there on the spot. Shane, tell me I'm fucking crazy.
Here's the problem. I can't tell you anything because my dumbass computer rebooted on me and I missed a whole bunch, and you guys were having a conversation and I just got on and you were yelling. So you're clearly pissed, my friend. So
I'm saying, if you can break down the fact that what he's saying won't
he doesn't know what I said.
Somebody getting killed and or arrested, because he's basically saying that it's insulting that if somebody actually does his technique, that it would lead to that, because I said that. And I'm saying you're not being realistic.
And I started out and I said there's no guarantee. I started at the very beginning and said this doesn't work with all of them. So you quit telling them, you're twisting my words, man.
Yep. So okay. So if I can jump in here. So Robert, first of all, man, thank you for being on with Nick, and thanks for staying on. This has obviously gotten contentious. So the question that I have, and a little bit of background on me. I've got a background in psychology from years ago. and I've been doing sales ever since. So when you talk about so when you talk about the sales training and you talk about the approach that you're taking, the first thing that I want to clarify with you is that it sounds to me that at the end of the day, right, sales 101, he who asks the question controls the conversation.
Right.
And so one of the things that you're talking about, at least that I saw at the beginning of this or towards a while back, is when the cop pulls you over and he asks for your license and registration, and I'm telling you, attitude is everything. If you're speaking to a police officer, any cop, good cop, bad cop, if you're speaking to a police officer with authority, right, you lose every time. If you speak to a police officer as a human being, one man to another, one human to another, and you are asking a genuine question with the intent of having a conversation, right, letting that officer know that, look, I'm throwing you a curveball here, right, because I can't give you my license because that would be me condoning, and Robert, I don't remember your words exactly, but
threats
I like
of violence against the people. That if I obey you, I'd be condoning threats of violence against a peaceful person. You wouldn't want me to do that, would you? And I do it like that. I'm very eye contact, very upbeat. I try to encourage them.
Yes. Okay. So once that table is set, Nick, and look, I am guilty of this as anybody. Just to be clear, Robert, Nick and I talk all the time. I try to be as diplomatic as I can, but I truly hate policing in America. I try not to hate the cop, but I hate policing, if that makes sense. And so when I get pulled over, right, my inner fight or flight kicks in, and I don't run very well. So I just go right into fight mode. And that works against me 100% of the time. It's always going to work against me.
Right.
And I'm aware of that. And that's my own. And here's the thing, man. And Nick, this is the hard part. But look, we've all got character flaws, man. And we've got to own that. And I think what Robert's saying here and what he's talking about necessarily means that you and I, right, have to change. We have to make that change within ourselves before we can even implement what he's talking about doing. Because if a cop doesn't believe that my question is sincere and doesn't believe that my attempt to have a conversation with them is sincere, you're right. We're going to jail, man. That's the way it's going to work. So I would like to point out that the key thing here for Robert's idea to work and for what he's talking about to work, you have to be in the right mental and emotional state of mind to be able to do this. And fear will sabotage it. Anger will sabotage it. You've got to treat it. And if Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a sale, right? If I want you to buy what I have to sell, if I come up to you and say, hey, you authoritarian fuckhead, buy this. Chances are he's not going to buy.
I've seen videos and spoken to people myself. Cool as a cucumber, man. Didn't lose their cool and are being more of a salesperson, like you're saying. Confident, like Robert is saying, but not authoritative, enough to be threatening. And it still has led to them either getting a ticket or going to jail.
Fair enough. And look, I think to Robert's point, right, it's not going to work 100% of the time. I mean,
Can I say something? Listen, when I learned sales 40 years ago, all right, and every business I've run since then, every product I learned, I had to knock on doors to get a sale. And you know what? 20, 30 of them, no. 5 or 10 of them slammed the door. And a couple times I got threatened. But an hour later, I had $300-400 in my pocket. I found them, right? Yeah. Not every cop is going to be able to be sold. And I can tell that right away when I ask that first question. If they become a dick, I say, okay, fine. You want to see it? Here's the license, whatever. Anything to avoid violence. I don't want you beating me up.
Yep. Okay. So I'm picking up what you're putting down here now. So the thing is this, and the way that I'm interpreting this, and guys, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong. But look, when you find that one, right? So in Robert's example, right, 30 or 40 no's, slammed in the door, slammed in the face. Then he finds that customer, right? He makes $300 or $400. He didn't just make $300 or $400 because when he sold that customer, he now has a referral. He now has somebody who is going to go out and is going to say, you know what? I just dropped $1,000 on this product or service. And I talked with this Robert guy and he was pretty kick-ass. He really blew me away and got me to think about things in a different light. Right. And so that it begins to spread.
And Shane, one thing, and I don't let the ones that slam the door and yell at me affect my attitude on the rest of the doors.
Yeah.
I keep the same positive attitude. I have been beat down. I was screaming, I can't breathe long before George Floyd. The cops beat me half to death and put me in the hospital. Okay. And I still have hope that because a lot of them can be sold, maybe not those guys, but the other ones, there are cops out there with good intentions. There are. They really do want to do good things, but they were indoctrinated and trained to do evil shit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying, man, is what person out of the 30 million, 40 million plus, I guess, that we have here in America that would actually go out there and do what you're saying, sacrifice ending up in jail, or having to go through to court, or, you know, pay fines and all of this stuff. Who would want to go through that headache? You know what I'm saying? Simply just to stand up for their principles. I completely understand with you, understand and stand with you, because I am such principled person. I'm saying, how can you explain that to those people who think that way, to rally behind what you're doing and actually start exercising it?
Well, look here, in sales, you're taught, I've taught many people that you attitude is everything, and you can't let the ones that got away affect you. We never let anyone talk about the ones they didn't sell in the office. Never. That's a negative thing to do. It brings people down. You have to shake that shit off. All the negative things that happened to you, Nick, you got to shake it off, man. You got to have a good attitude, and you got to think, hey, these guys can be saved. You got to be positive.
Yeah. It's a tall order, but Nick, for me to answer, because you're talking about 30 or 40 million people, you're talking about the people who get pulled over, right? You're talking about, okay. So here's the thing. Here's the simple fact of the matter. And Robert, we may have to come to terms with this. Not everyone's got the gift of sales.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, look, the truth is, Nick, there may be in the entire country, there may be a total of, out of 330 million people, there may be only 2 million of us that can pick up what Robert's putting down and put these principles and these ideas into practice. But I mean, there's like so many things here to unwrap. And Robert, like you said, it sounds like, you know, if you were going to train people on this, you're talking about a week just
at least
basics.
Yeah. At least, and that's just to get the basics before you go out there, put them into action and learn from them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so I would be personally very interested in learning more about that, because I actually think that's something that I would be very interested in working on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Would you go on camera when you do it? You go up to a cop somewhere. You don't have to get pulled over, but just find a cop somewhere and you get on video and hit them with this, and get them to say, hey, wow, you're right. I never thought of it that way. Thank you.
I think those would make phenomenal videos. Now,
wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you from personal experience, Nick, it isn't going to work on all cops. I have a buddy who is a sheriff, right, who flat out told me that he sees every individual, whether you're 99 years old or an infant, he sees everyone as a potential criminal. That's that's his mindset when he goes to work every day, that everyone is a criminal until, and you can't overcome that mindset. He does his job from a state of fear and a state of anger and a state of control.
If you're his friend or someone close to him, and you can't even convince them of what Robert is saying, what makes you think that some average person some random person is going to be able to convince him otherwise.
That's my point. Ain't nobody going to convince him otherwise.
I'm looking for listen, I'm looking for people who hopefully have sales training, but I'll train them in sales. But someone who has the courage and wants to learn how to sell, and they will go out there and do it once they're properly trained. And no, there's no guarantee. I never said that. Right. Yeah. But if you know sales, then you got a good start already.
Yeah. And Nick, to that point, right? Not everyone will be able to do what Robert's talking about. And it is definitely not going to work on all cops. It's just not. You've got it is a matter of again.
And I'm not saying it is not, man. That's the thing. I'm not saying it is not. I'm just saying be realistic. If you tell people that you do this, it could possibly end up with you getting your ticket still or ending up in jail, then that would again be that disclaimer to prevent them from being alluded to think that this is going to work.
I didn't say it's going to work. I said it's going to work if you know sales, psychology, a little bit of hostage negotiation, a lot of training, and then it may not work every single time, but your odds increase. The more you learn, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we're going back and forth over semantics here. I still really didn't get an idea of the conversation, quote unquote, other than just having, you know, a heart to heart with the damn cop, you know, and you can do that all damn day and it could still lead to your ass getting shot in the head by the cop.
Yeah, but you're focused on that. You're focused on the negative. You're focused on
I'm
getting
not focusing on the negative. I'm just
How about
telling
you think
you
about them winning
that's
them
the
over?
reality of the situation.
So
no, that's why I said you've been broken.
If I could call just timeout on this, right? Let's change the scenario. Let's go back to what Robert was talking about. Let's not wait to get pulled over. Let's meet a cop who hasn't pulled you over, right? Whether he's in uniform or not. If you know that there's somebody who's a cop who's in a social situation, right? Or who's on duty but isn't in the midst of dealing with something.
You can call him on the phone too.
Exactly. But I think so outside of this getting pulled over scenario, right? If you were to just talk with a uniformed officer and pick up that conversation and say, look, I would be, and again, Robert, you could coach me better on this, but I'll just do my best to role play it here. But officer, can I ask you a question? If you were to ask me for ID and I were to say, look, I'm afraid to give it to you because doing so would then be me, Robert, I'm not going to get the wording right, but giving into violence, if you will.
You'd be condoning threats of violence. It's important that you use those words because you're saying I'm condoning threats of violence. So you're bringing up the violence against a peaceful person. You're announcing you're a peaceful guy.
Yeah.
And that makes it harder for them to say anything other than what I get mostly. What are you talking about? Which is great. It opens up the conversation.
I'm going to call our police chief and attempt to do what you were just talking about.
I'll do it. I'll get on the phone. I'll get on the phone and call him. We'll do this and call him.
Well, the police department is closed right now. You know they.
No, I mean someday.
So,
not doing it tonight.
After hours, all across the country, to call any police department, we're unable to do this telephone call example. But
I've called sheriffs before. They were very interested. A couple of them called me back. They were curious. Look, these guys don't know that they can use their discretion to ignore these stupid laws and actually protect people and do the things they wanted to do when they started, right? A lot of them wanted to help people, but they got wrapped up in this training and this bullshit and this brainwashing crap and got them out there generating revenue and punishing peaceful people for disobedience, but they don't know yet. Not until they listen to me.
This exercise of discretion, we don't see it going much in a direction towards protecting the rights and freedoms of every individual American versus it going in the other direction and then protecting themselves and their brethren and their reputation and their status among the community. Because
they're already doing that.
If you look at what happened in Texas, there were police officers that were called when those kids got shot in Uvalde. When the shooter was on the school campus, there was a police officer there who did not go in. There were police officers who came there to get their own kids out of the school.
Yeah, they're human beings. They were scared.
And for 30 minutes kept parents from going into the school to stop the shooter because they didn't want to do the jobs themselves. So
because it's easier to abuse the peaceful people than it is to go after the violent guy. That's why.
You have too many people in uniform that are doing this abuse of discretion, abuse of authority, abuse of public trust. You have more doing that than the opposite.
Nick,
that's why I'm trying to do this, so we can go to the opposite. That's what I'm trying to do, is flip it over.
Okay.
Oh my God, man.
So Nick, does it make you angry?
Hell yeah, because look at how unbalanced it is when we talk about justice in this country. And you want to laugh about this shit, but it's people fucking dying over this unbalanced criminal justice system. Why? Because there's more people over here accepting totalitarianism, accepting authoritarianism, accepting draconianism, and not giving a fuck about what happens over here with these small group of people, these fringe group that Robert is talking about is going to turn the tides.
So Nick, my friend, I love you to death. Deep breath, because the anger will sabotage you. Name one thing good that's ever happened in your life due to your anger.
Why are you not angry? Wait. You're men. What the fuck is wrong with you talking about you're not angry? You got other fucking men wearing a costume and you're sitting here admittedly talking about this shit like it's fucking civil and it makes some common sense. Where's your balls? Where's your fucking anger?
Well, what do you want them to do?
Neither one of you deserve praise as a fucking man because you don't have enough balls to stand up and say, I'm angry enough about this shit.
Because
I'm angry. You damn right
we're angry. Nick, of course we're angry.
Because I've done it.
Dude, we're angry. We're angry, okay? But we don't show it like that, okay?
Right now, it's not going to benefit them. You know what's going to benefit them? Listening to Governor fucking Wildstar telling them to get fucking angry because it's that fucking time of the month.
They won't listen to you, Nick.
This is a country that was founded on liberty and freedom. If you guys are willing to compromise that simply for the sake of, I'm just having a fucking conversation.
What?
Get the fuck out of here. You're wasting fucking time. Grow some fucking balls. This is America. It's time to fucking start fucking fighting against the tyrants.
You want to do what they want you to do. This is what they want. What you're doing is what they want. They want you like that.
You need to be like this. What are you talking about, man?
No, you can't be like that.
How is that working for you so far, Nick? How is it working for you so far?
Frederick Douglass said, revolution and your fucking freedom is going to come one of three ways: through the jury box, which is your court system that you're talking about, through the fucking ballot box, which I've tried 6 times. You know why I'm fucking angry? Because I've just lost an election with people saying, we're running for local office. That'll give you an opportunity. And I did that shit 3 times, Shane, and nobody cares. And I'm trying to attack this shit at the micro level where it really originates, the laws. Because while you want to talk about battling this, Robert, on the surface, that ain't doing shit. You hit it.
No, it is doing shit. If we get the cop on our side. Nick, give me a second. Let me say something.
You hit it at the root. It does not.
Right, that's what I'm doing. I'm hitting it at the root. Nick, let me have a chance. Nick, let me have a chance.
What to bring about that revolution is the fucking ammunition box.
Whatever.
1, the ballot box. 2, the jury box. 3,
No, you're supporting the system. You're encouraging them. You're participating. You're doing what they want you to do. You're a fucking slave to these people.
To do what I'm doing. You damn stupid. I'm doing what they want to do because
you're a slave to this shit, man.
I'm having that fiery revolutionary spirit that Americans are supposed to have to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not going to take your.
So you want to fight? You want a bloodbath? That's what you want.
It doesn't have to be a fucking bloodbath. Listen to me.
It does. If you listen to you, Nick, there's no choice. It has to be a bloodbath.
No, if you stand up,
the anger. The anger hasn't worked since the 1960s. It's never worked.
About is bending the knee.
How angry was Harriet Tubman?
Very fucking angry.
That's right.
Where she led thousands of people away from fucking people that wanted to keep them enslaved.
And she didn't sell them on the idea with anger. She sold them on the idea.
Man, if you know anything about Harriet Tubman, Shane, I'm about to educate you because Harriet Tubman told other black people, either you are on board for this freedom mission or I will put a fucking bullet between your eyes myself. Did you know that? Okay, then. So get the fuck out of here with that anger doesn't bullshit. She was angry.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being angry. There's nothing wrong with being angry, but you can't let it show.
Anger. It's called righteous anger, and you guys don't have enough righteous anger to do anything about it.
I'm doing it. I've been doing it. I'm trying to help you do it.
You're too busy saying have a civil conversation with people who do not care.
No, I said ask questions. You need to ask questions. Yes, it should be civil. There's no reason to get angry. At the time, you're trying to win them over.
They do not care about your civility, Robert.
You don't know what they care about because you are not a mind reader. You think you know everything. You bark orders. You haven't once tried to sell me or Randy. You haven't sold anybody. No one's voting for you because you can't sell shit. You're angry. You're bitter. You want control. You want a bloodbath. You have nothing to do with freedom. You're all about control.
Full of shit. This guy is full of shit. And that's what I'm saying. How the fuck you gonna come on here and say I haven't sold you on the damn thing when you don't even have any damn video evidence? You don't have anything to back up all of your claims. I fucking do. So while you're talking about I'm full of shit, no, you're the one that's full of shit. And yes, Americans, you need to be fucking angry because you got people out there like Robert Landen thinking that they can go around driving without a license, driving without insurance, driving without giving a damn, and thinking that if you do the same thing, you'll be able to do so without being impeded, without being accosted, without being harassed by people that we know have time and time again harassed people, especially people of color, for doing such things. I'm not going to support such a thing, period. Especially if it's going to lead to someone getting hurt, because that's what this man is talking about. The shit that he's talking about is going to lead to people getting hurt. Now, as far as a civil way for us to rebel and protest, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And that's where we need to start, is by going to your legislators, going to your sheriff department, your sheriff, since they are an elected official, your police officer, your police chief, he is not, she is not, they are not an elected official. They have no duty to serve or protect you. Again, what's the case called? Warren versus District of Columbia. Police enforce drug or traffic laws with violence, and it's hard to argue on the spot or in court later. Exactly. These are people that have lived off of experience, and that's what Robert didn't want to listen is, I have experience. That's what Shane, unfortunately, did not want to hear either. I have experience. So yes, there is something for you to be angry about, because based on my experience, those people that we, the people, have entrusted to protect and respect our rights, they do not. And they don't give a flying fuck about it. Especially when it comes to what Steve just said, where you go to court, they don't give a damn about your rights. You can argue it as much as you can. You can pay top dollar for the best attorney in the world, because that's really what it's going to cost. And even still, you may not have a chance of beating that system because it's rigged. It's built on a lie. They're not going to compromise their lie, all for the sake of your freedom. If they don't enforce laws, maybe it ends up like in San Francisco. At least they don't chase and endanger others on the street. Right. We definitely should be making sure that we're holding our elected officials accountable. Police departments, police officers, they are not accountable to anyone, which is why when it comes to you getting pulled over, whether you're driving in the city or on the highway or whatever the case may be, if it's a police officer, they're not going to give a damn about anything that Robert was just talking about. You can say, hey, I can't justifiably condone giving you my license, registration, and proof of insurance because I'd be condoning to violent acts against me. I don't want any of you out there to have to experience what I've experienced, okay? I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. However, if you're brave enough, if you got enough balls, okay? If you got enough cojones, if you're not pusillanimous, then please stand up, say something, definitely. And it's at that point of contact when you first speak with the police officer where you have that opportunity to do that and level with the police officer, like Robert said, to see if you can pull on his heartstrings and say, hey, if you're really a human, if you really care about helping people, this does not help at all. It isn't helping me. It isn't helping the community. The only thing that is helping is the profiteering off of peaceful people, because no victim, no crime, period. I don't care how you want to cut it up. No victim, no crime. So a peaceful person hasn't done anything to hurt anyone. So if you're driving without a license, if you're driving without registration, if you're driving without insurance, whatever the case may be, if you're walking down the street minding your own damn business like I did, and you got pulled over by the police for fitting the description, you should not have to give them your ID simply because you don't want to get hurt. That's what it's boiled down to our country. That's what I've experienced. I even went to jail and spent an hour in jail because of that. Okay? I even then had to go to court because they charged me with resisting arrest. Another thing that we didn't even get a chance to talk about. If you have that exchange with police officers, it could lead to them actually filing justifiable, I guess, charges against you for resisting arrest. That doesn't have any grounds or basis at all either, seeing as they had no reason to arrest you to begin with, or else that would be their arrest. But resisting arrest means that they were going to arrest you and you resisted. That's exactly what you'd be doing if you start to do what Robert is saying. No matter how cool, calm, collected that you are about the shit, it's not going to end up well. We all want laws to be enforced, but that means ultimately they will use violence if you do not comply. Exactly. Comply or die. That's the way how it is with the police state. And that's what we need to realize is in control of our law enforcement right now, a police state where if you do not do as they say, they will use violence to harm you. All of you people that are back to blue and, pro law enforcement or whatever the case may be, look at what happened during COVID. You have police officers going into restaurants, going into private establishments, into businesses, into homes, and dragging people, peaceful people that weren't harming anyone, again, no victim, no crime, out of their wherever, using violence to then drag their ass off to jail. So they can justifiably do that for whatever reason. You say your body, your choice, they don't give a damn. It's your property of the state. We have to come to that understanding now. The sooner you can realize that, the better we have a chance at actually fighting back. The sooner we have a chance at making a stand before it affects our children. If you don't want that buck to be passed to them, right now is your opportunity to make a stand. And I'm asking you to make a stand with me. So please definitely connect with me right here on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, right there at Governor Wildstar. You know what to do. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely subscribe. Because if I could get more guys like this guy up here, oh my God, we gonna have some spicy fucking episodes coming up. Anyways, yeah, be sure to subscribe. Unless you're paying for videos to be shared and shit like that, nobody's seeing your videos. People are like, hey, you have over 30,000 subscribers and millions of views on these videos. Why are these so low on views? Why? Because I'm not paying for everyone to see them. YouTube is a profiteering site, just like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, every other social media website, where if you want more people to see your content, you can pay for it. And I'm not going to pay for it. But what you can do is step up to the plate and practice what you preach by helping me in sharing these videos, commenting, liking, disliking, whatever the hell, I don't care. Just engage with the post, because that's going to improve that YouTube algorithm. But if you definitely like what you see, then please be sure to share with others and subscribe as well, of course. Also, head on over to taxationistheft.info. Taxation is theft, and they are using the means of violence to take away your money, your hard-working money, for no damn reason at all. If I took money away from you without your consent, that would be theft. For some reason, we allow the government to do so. We definitely should not. We should be making a stand against that. And you can make a stand by heading on over to taxationistheft.info, buying any of this merchandise from this website to get that message out there. Use my code GOWILD2022 to get 10% off of your purchase, and help me spread the word about how taxation is theft, as well as the movement to fight against taxes. I mean, because they are illegal, they're unjustified, they're unconstitutional. We should have legislators that are suspending, ending taxes in some way, shape, or form. They are not. So it's up for we, the people, to do something if they aren't going to do it for us. You have to do it. Do it with the Taxation is Theft message by heading over to taxationistheft.info. And you can also do it with Nug of Knowledge products. Nug of Knowledge fights the war on drugs by you and your contributions towards that effort. You can purchase any of your CBD, THC products here from nugofknowledge.com. Right there, use my code again, Wildstar, and you'll get a discount off of your purchase. But yes, please head on over to this website, because it is another mission-related product. And that cause, again, is to end the war on drugs, especially cannabis. I mean, 0 people have died from cannabis use, and we should not be criminalizing it in any way, shape, or form. More and more states are decriminalizing it, allowing people to use it for medicinal purposes, etc. So we as a community need to make sure, again, we're holding the whip over our legislators. They work for us, not the other way around. Got to whip their ass into shape. Do what the hell we're saying, or else you're fired. And the way that you can do that is heading on over to nugofknowledge.com. Use code WILDSTAR to support that cause. And speaking of being angry, it's time to drink the blood of tyrants. For sure. I'm a madman, and madmen need to drink the blood of tyrants wine. You can head on over to bloodoftyrants.wine. Use my code GOWILD. Buy any one of these wonderful bottles of wine to fight against tyranny. That's what we're here to do as Americans. And you can do so by, again, purchasing bloodoftyrants.wine. Head on over, use my code GOWILD, and you will get $5 off of your shipping of your wine products. So buy the Blood of Tyrants wine, use my code, get a discount, make a statement, and always don't ever forget the tree of liberty must be watered from time to time with the blood of tyrants. I would say that time has come, my fellow Americans. That time has indeed come. So if we want to, again, make sure that we are making a stand against tyranny, head on over to bloodoftyrants.wine, drink the blood of tyrants, join me in making sure that we make a stand for liberty for once and for all, black, white, young, old, rich, poor. I don't give a damn. We need to be making a stand for liberty in this country and make sure that we're holding off this oligarchy that is attempting to overtake our country, that has overtaken our country. We're under siege right now. If you guys don't remember, I used to have the upside down flag behind me. Nothing has changed. We're still in that time of revolution to where the people need to stand up and fight against what's going on. And we have an oligarchy, authoritarian, tyrannical government that is abusing their authority. They're abusing their consent. They're abusing the public trust to abuse us and our rights and our liberties and our freedoms, etc. Do we want to allow that shit to continue? No, definitely not. So help me fight against that, fight against tyranny, and fight for the cause by donating using Cash App, $ Governor Wildstar right now. Again, you can Cash App me using $ Governor Wildstar. Anything and everything is appreciated. Helps me make sure that I'm able to keep these shows coming to you, because I take time out of my schedule to actually earn money to make these videos. Does that make sense? So you can help me keep making these videos, or even make more of these videos, by, again, donating using Cash App, $ Governor Wildstar. I'm not sponsored by anybody except for you, we the people, all right? Also, be sure to share. Sharing is caring. Like I said, share this video, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. I'll be downsizing a few of my accounts and social media accounts, so be sure to stay tuned to see where I can still be found on social media. But in the meantime, y'all know what to do. Long live liberty. I'm about this bitch. Peace.